Alright guys, today do a little something different. The free-to-play is still going. Lots of farming to do before I do anything important. But there's a new Archwing event. It is this Tactical Alert, which is essentially just kill a bunch of Ogma, which actually happened to be really good for leveling up Archwings. But Archwing is a topic that I have not talked about a lot, so I'm going to say what I think about it now. Right now, in the state that Archwing is currently in, I don't think it's very good, and I think the majority of the community really doesn't like Archwing, and I completely get it. I also am not a huge fan of Archwing. I think it controls awkwardly, and it's not where it could be in terms of like ease of like playing, and like the enemies aren't interesting, and like it's a lot of copy pasted game modes, so a lot of that is just not very fun. The weapon and class variety that you can choose from is not a lot right now. I actually have all of them, all of the classes rather. The Elytron, the Itzel, and the Odonata. The Odonata is the one you start with. I think it sucks. I hate it. It's not fun for me. As someone who, whenever I want to level something, I want it to be able to play like defense, interception, survival, those types of things. First of all, in Archwing, survival and defense, those are not a thing. You can't even choose those. You have to do interception if you want an endless mission type, which really sucks because people that don't like interception don't have the other two endless options to level in. The Itzel I have not played around in. Early stuff that I've heard about it is that it's very good, but for me, I was a person who saw the Elytron and I was like, please take my money, because it's a big, heavy, tanky motherfucking piece of shit that has like a fucking nuke and a big AoE, which is exactly my kind of thing. So, there's that. But the Odonata, what I've played of it, I don't like it. It's just not that fun. Its powers I don't think are that useful. The Itzel's powers seem good based on what I've seen of it. It has a lot of tech. Maybe not as good for interceptions as the Elytron for one very specific reason, and that's its 3. And then other things, it's 6 weapons, which 2 of them are the same, the Imperator and the Imperator Vandal, which was a one of the previous event rewards. So having 5 weapons essentially to choose from, not great. The way you get weapons is by farming Archwing missions to get parts. So by way of that, they've kind of limited the people that want to go farm that shit, because you start with the Imperator, which is a basic machine gun. There are a lot of people that don't think a basic machine gun is very fun. So I think that kind of hampers it. And then let's look at the melee weapons. I'm missing one. They're all the same essentially with varying damage numbers. Melee and Archwing is auto lock on, and it's just kill them. I just got the Wrathbone, so I'm going to be leveling it. I don't really think that what one you take really matters all that much. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that the Centaur is the best one, which I don't know if that's true. Its damage numbers might just simply end up being higher. That's what I'm trying to go for. But I think the Wrathbone looks the coolest, so I'm glad I'm leveling that now. And really, it's kind of a bonus mode that doesn't really have a lot of bearing on anything except for events that a lot of people really don't like. And by evidence of that, I tried to get into 3 separate matches of this Tactical Alert today. And I subsequently had a lot of people complaining in the chat, the squad chat, and then simply quitting. So I have not been able to get very far in this event with any semblance of fun because of the subsequent complaints about Archwing. But let's try and do this event so I can show off like what's going on, which is not a lot with Archwing, to be totally honest with you. There's 6 squads right now, so shouldn't be hard to find one. Yep. Oh, well, we're here, and these guys have already started dying. Okay. Yeah, these guys' chances are pretty dire right now. as are mine. Starting being surrounded by enemies is not a good sign. Oh, and we hit 100%, so this wave is actually over. Kind of glad I joined in now. And as you can see from this, like, the space combat, you would assume, is going to be very fast, like you were flying something. It ends up, whenever you like zoom in and have to move around, it's pretty much just really slowly unloading on your enemies. And like, this is fast, but you can't attack during this. Like, you can melee out of this, but it's not that great. And melee ends up with the same problem it has in the regular game of being completely ineffectual after a certain point. In that you wouldn't want to melee. With the exception of the Itzel's invisibility, I believe. You can stay invisible in melee, which, like the main game, that's when you'd want to melee. Which is unfortunate. So it's going to boil down to power spamming and shooting at long range with a gun, which is kind of boring. And since you don't really have that much terrain to like interact with or like play cover around, you end up getting shot at incredibly long ranges a lot of the time, which ends up being not fun because it's sometimes hard to tell where you're being shot from, because obviously you have full 360 in every direction of places you can be shot at, provided there isn't a wall near you. So it's not like you have less awareness, and it's not faster or simpler gameplay. It's kind of the same old loop that you know, just in a environment where you don't have all the mods that you've been earning the whole game up to the point where you get to Archwing. So for a lot of people, whenever Archwing was introduced, they had every mod in the game. They kind of just do whatever they needed to do with their mods to win in any situation, which I think rubbed a lot of the veteran players the wrong way, because obviously having everything essentially taken away from you and being told that no, none of what you did mattered, you're starting from scratch. It's kind of shitty, especially for people who've been playing for a long time. And I kind of had that same experience, but for different reasons. I just don't think that Archwing is improving the game in any real way. I mean, I like the designs of the Archwings and such, but at this point, it's just not great. And because of the lack of game modes, it's real easy to get bored doing Archwing. Like, even if you want to like go through and like farm the mods that you need and stuff, like, it just ends up being a slog pretty much no matter how you cut it. That's right here, that thing I just launched, is the reason I think the Elytron is the best, because in Interception, this is a huge AoE bubble now. So weak enemies can't go in there because they'll die. And then strong enemies you can of course just mow down with a gun, as per usual. AoE the weak guys and shoot the strong guys. Pretty much the loop you've come to know and love if you've been playing Warframe long enough. Having cold damage on the machine gun generally works out in your favor pretty well. Slows down your enemies. The only nice thing about this is that they tend to focus on one point until they capture it, so you can kind of just ignore all the other points, which is both good and bad, I think. Mostly bad. Yeah, I think the problem with Archwing stems from it not being different enough, when I feel like it is kind of a distraction game mode, where it's like, oh, well, I've been farming survival for 3 hours. I should go do something else. Well, farming Interception and Archwing isn't really something else. It's a little different, but it's not different enough to be like, that broke up the pace. Like, I think people are far more likely to maybe jump off Warframe for a couple hours or something and play one of their other like favorite games. I don't know, Dark Souls, Hearthstone, stuff like that. I found myself a lot of times like playing for a while and like just being like, I've been farming prime parts for like 2.5 hours. I'm gonna go play like a couple rounds of Hearthstone because like there's nothing to break up the action. It's pretty much gonna be the same the entire time you're playing Warframe, which kind of sucks. And I feel like Archwing had the opportunity to break that pace up, but just wasn't able to, or they didn't really think about it in that way when they were making it. And Archwing has changed a lot since it came out. It used to be based off your Warframe statistics, what you were going to have as like your Archwing stats, which was a horrible idea, and I'm glad that they changed that to what it is now, because it makes it hilarious that Valkyr ends up being the best Warframe for Archwing at that point, which is how it was. Just because she could survive while we had no mods. Speaking of mods. But yeah, we're out of that stage now, and at this point the only thing that matters on your original loadout is your aura. Those still come into play, but yeah, it's pretty standard, and it's kind of unfortunate that it is, and that it feels this way. I really... Now, this is just me, personally. What I would have liked to see was, maybe something like... more... it's hard to say. Something... like, with a lock-on, where, like, the goal is, like, moving fast and, like, doing more, like, it's interesting because like it's the same fast pace as Warframe, or as fast as Warframe is, but like it could have benefited, I think, from being more flashy and like in your face with like looking cool, and then maybe make it more simple. Because like what you really want, I think, after playing a lot of Archwing, or not Archwing, general, like just general mission running, is like just to chill out for a while and do something like simple and kind of cool / flashy, or something different. Like it's usually going to be one of those two things that you want. But I don't know. I could just be spewing bullshit. I mean, I'm not like an established game developer or something. It's just what I think about video games, so take it with a grain of salt as to what you think they could have done with Archwing. But it seems like most players are not super happy with it. But it seems like this time I actually got a good group that wants to play the game and get the event done, which is fine with me. But yeah, usually a simple tactical alert like this, I wouldn't have recorded anything with it, but it gave me the opportunity to talk about Archwing. So, I mean, it's something that I don't necessarily have like my opinion completely formed on it, because I think it still needs a little bit of time to grow and get into what like it could be rather than what it is right now. Which, I mean, originally whenever Warframe properly went into beta, it was the same way, like not like much like torn apart from that concept either. Like there wasn't a lot going on in it, and like there were 2 tile sets, and there just wasn't a lot happening, and it was kind of simple, and there like weren't enough classes to support enough like different play styles. But like now, the main game of Warframe, we've got like, what is it, 18 Warframes? Might be coming up on that. I'm not sure. Maybe even more than that. I actually can't even like remember right now. But like we have like a bunch of classes. There's tons of weapons. There's over 100 weapons, and it's more fun because of like the choices and like content that there is available, and because they keep like keeping it fresh with new content like all the time. And I'm not saying that like the thing that Archwing needs to be interesting is new content all the time, because the way you farm weapons and the way that the mission structure is right now, in that I think there are only 4, is just kind of bad. Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing that Archwing would benefit the most from would be a buff to the initial Archwing. Absolutely, for sure. Because I don't think it's good enough, like, to farm and, like, actually get that thing leveled. And then just, like, an overhaul to the amount of, like, missions and stuff that are available. Which I think I'm thinking before... I should be clear, right now I'm doing this event literally hours before 10:00 live, which I will be doing a video on everything that goes on there, because I think we're going to get some big announcements coming out of that. But, shit, what was I going to say? Wow, there it is. And it's gone. My train of thought has left the fucking tracks. Let me think. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'm making a video prior to 10:00 live. I'll be talking about that. Oh yeah, it's like literally 3 hours before 10:00 live, so like a lot of like things could change. And oh yeah, the boss. Right. I think the first boss that we're gonna get in Archwing is going to be the new Golem, because they've been teasing it for a while and they've shown it off a little bit. So I think that at 10:00 live we're going to see some of that, and in update 16 I think that Archwing may get a bit more satisfied light shown on it if they give us the boss like properly. I think the raid's going to be really interesting whenever it comes out. I think update 16 has a lot of potential, and I know we're going to see the Dragon Frame at the 10:00 live announcements and such, so I'll be absolutely talking about that. Oh shit, that's what was shooting me. There we go. Yeah, that's melee. It locks on, but then it's pretty much just damage based. This is actually really good for leveling because of all the Ogmas. Ogmas, what do they get? 1,500? Maybe a little bit more than that. I'll actually find one. Here we go. How much do you give, Ogma? Yeah, 1,600. That's pretty good. 1,600 for an Ogma is not bad compared to, like, what are you getting for these little guys? 163? Yeah, where you're getting 10 times for an Ogma, and Ogma are roughly the same amount, like, ease to kill. Less for some of the smaller units. Yeah, because this event spawns like a lot of the Ogma at like a relatively low level as opposed to a relatively insanely high level, which is what some of the Elytron farming Archwing that I'm using currently throws at you, is just incredibly high level enemies, which is making it hard to get the Elytron, which I feel is actually the best Archwing right now. Okay, time for a final cleanup. Ooh, mod. Fusion core. I think fusion cores might actually be more of a problem than a boon in Archwing, because it's like you're gonna miss mods just because of like it's not easy to like tell where they are because they're the same color as a lot of the background, which is another smaller problem. But yeah. Yeah, round 52. Alright, so I'm a little bit into the event, which I'd have to do this quite a few more times to get farther. But I kind of just wanted to talk about Archwing and show off one round. So, I mean, those are my general thoughts right now on Archwing. I'm, like, excited for 10:00 live, so I was, like, really in the mood to record something. So, got this, but, yeah. I think I'm almost done with like completing Mercury and stuff on the free-to-play for those that are interested in that. And then after that, things will continue as planned. But yeah, for now, I mean, that's been my thoughts on Archwing and the event, which is kind of just a regular mission with some rewards on it. But I mean, who am I to judge?